First story. My husband M39 has thrown me, F27, under the bus to his family with his silence and complete lack of a spine. How do I salvage this? The author of the post is listed in the description. My husband Owen and I have been trying for a baby for years with no luck. I would be happy to adopt, but Owen's family is against it and has influenced my husband to also be against it. After our second year of trying, I begged my husband to go with me to get a checkup to see if either of us or both of us is infertile. He was strongly opposed to this, as all the men in his family are extremely fertile, but eventually gave in. And as it turns out, his sperm count is extremely low. He was heartbroken, as was I, and we both got therapy. After a year of no longer trying, I got pregnant but lost the baby, and we were devastated. Owen blamed himself and proposed that we start the process of getting into a family planning center for a sperm donor, which I agreed to. He asked me that we not tell either of our families about this or our friends, and I agreed, because I would never want to emasculate him. With the help of our donor, I was able to successfully become pregnant, and we had our little girl last year. She is healthy and progressing amazingly, and I thank God for her every day. I kept my promise and never told anyone. However, Owen is struggling with connecting with our little girl. Here is where the trouble begins. Last month, when he went out of town with his brothers for their friend's bachelor party. While on the trip, Owen told his brothers about our infertility issues and that our baby wasn't biologically his. One of his brothers must have told his wife, who told my husband's mother. I don't know why she would tell my husband's mother, except that she has never liked me. Their mother then came to our house and called me a lying whore and tried to get my husband to leave with her. He just stood there silent. I told her that it was Owen's decision not to tell anyone, and she asked him if this was true again. He was silent, which his mother took as me being the liar. She then went to our nursery and started taking everything she'd ever given us for the baby back. I told her I didn't care about it, and I made more than enough to buy everything she gave us myself and better quality. This set her off, and she called my baby a filthy bastard when she said that I did something I know was harsh, but I believe she deserved it. I physically pushed her out the door. I didn't hit her, but I did put my hands on her shoulders, pushing her out the door, and threw all her shitty things out with her. After spirits had calmed down, I realized my husband had said nothing when his mother was berating me, calling me a liar, and when she called our child a filthy bastard, so I asked him why he was silent. He said he wasn't raised to be disrespectful the way I was, and that his mother hadn't said anything that wasn't true. She was just hurtful with what she'd said, and that we should let it go and wait for his mother to forgive us. I told him that I would never let it go, that his mother and anyone who agreed with her was not welcomed in our home, and that I don't need to be forgiven when I've done nothing wrong. He then said the house was his, and as the head of the family, it was his decision. I told fine, but why did he allow her to call me a liar and a whore? Those things are not true, and our child, no child really, should be called a bastard. He just repeated he would not argue with his mother. After that, I stopped speaking to him and started gathering up my daughter's things and purse and walked out the door with her. He tried to stop me and told me I couldn't take his daughter anywhere without him, and I lost the little bit of composure I had left. I told him she wasn't his daughter. He'd proved he didn't see her as his daughter when he'd allowed his mother to call her a filthy bastard and told him she wasn't his. He broke down into tears and begged me to come back inside, but at the time I felt nothing. He looked pathetic to me. I've taken my baby with me and gone back home to my parents and finally told my family the truth, which feels so good. They are completely in support of my decision and are not allowing my spineless husband anywhere near us, as he still refuses to apologize to me or set the record straight with his family. However, I told the sister-in-law that I was close to the truth, and she told the rest of his family. Half of his family is understanding while the other side is on his mother's side, but they all are mad at my husband. I need time to cool down, but I know eventually my husband and I need to figure our marriage out. One thing is for certain, I will not return to his house until he apologizes to me and promises to protect me and his daughter fiercely. I want to see this in action form, starting with him telling his mother what she did was wrong and banning her from coming to see us until she asks for my forgiveness. We were also planning on having more children, as he wants a big family, but that is off the table as I don't believe he is ready, and we both need to get back into therapy. Relevant comments. Commenter. Ask yourself this: do you believe he is capable of changing? Everything he has said and allowed to be said to you is nothing but disrespectful. Upi. I am beginning to conclude he does not love me enough to change or protect us. Commenter. Does he have any redeeming qualities? It does not seem so, and I'm sure you are aware there is nothing worth saving. Please don't allow yourself or your child to continue to be abused by these total AHs. Uip. I will most certainly never allow my baby to be abused verbally or physically, and his redeeming qualities are few. Commenter. I am confused. Your husband had a low sperm count, but he was still producing sperm, and the IVF clinic would normally harvest your husband's sperm and choose the healthiest candidate and then inject it directly into one of your eggs. Why did you decide to get a third-party sperm donor when your husband was still producing sperm, albeit at a much lower quantity? Defective sperm and low sperm count are not the same thing. OOP. A healthy donor was less expensive and had a higher chance of success than IVF. We've had many friends who did IVF and spent hundreds of thousands of dollars only to have no results and/or more miscarriages. We explored all our options thoroughly, and he chose this one. Update 1. I want to start by thanking those who were so kind. Your words of encouragement and advice were greatly appreciated. Here is my update. Apparently, after I left my husband's house, my MIL, BL, and CIL accused me of cheating. I'd already begun speaking with a lawyer after Owen refused to tell the truth to his family, but knowing he let them tell other people I cheated is like getting punched in the chest. I'm now renting a nice 2-bedroom apartment. My siblings and their partners have helped me furnish it, and my top priority is ensuring my baby has everything she needs. Currently, I'm working to create a cozy nursery for her and hiring a nanny. Facing the end of my marriage is terrifying, but I'm learning to accept my new reality. When I notified Owen I was going to file for divorce, he started calling and messaging nonstop. His messages range from begging me to come home, telling me he will tell the truth and get therapy again, begging to see our baby, and then threatening to drag me home. I told him the divorce was happening whether he liked it or not because he failed as a husband and failed even worse as a parent. He then sent photos and videos of my things in the garbage and him and my BIL trashing the nursery. His exact words, "I don't need it anymore." In the most disturbing video, he threw our baby's car seat in a dumpster. I do not recognize him or his behavior anymore. He claims to miss his daughter and me, but is trying to make his behavior my fault for not doing what I'm told. This is not the man I agreed to marry. The man I married was smart, kind, gentle, thoughtful, and funny, but this vileness from him was waiting for me the moment I didn't obey and take the disrespect from his family to save him from the humiliation of his infertility. Before the fallout with his mother, he was nothing like this. It's certainly not an excuse, but I believe it all centered on him feeling emasculated and humiliated by his family. I just can't believe he couldn't at least stand up to his family for me and our baby, the one he said he would die for. I am not blocking Owen, as my lawyer said to email everything he says to me to him, but the constant threatening messages make me scared to leave my home. Owen knows where I work and has repeatedly told me he will drag us back if that's what it takes and that I'm making him do this. My lawyer and I are working on a restraining order, but every woman who was attacked by her ex-husband knows restraining orders don't keep you safe. However, things took a turn when my file showed up on my parents' doorstep, and it's the reason I decided to update. My file asked to speak with me. My parents told him they would call me and ask, but if I said no, then that was final, and he would not be welcomed back. I only agreed to speak to Fiel because he told my parents he was there to apologize for his family and set the record straight. My dad called me as my FIL was blocked from calling me, and when I picked up my file, immediately apologized for his wife's behavior. He wanted to hear my side of the story as he did not believe I cheated. I thanked him. I was never close to Fiel, but we've always been civil, and let him know, of course, I did not cheat. I told him of his son's infertility and that Owen proposed we get a donor. I told him very clearly it was his son's decision, and that because my FIL and his family put blood as the only valid form of family, my husband made me lie so our child would be treated equally. After I finished, my Fiel seemed stunned. He was quiet for a while, then asked if his wife and son could come over and see my daughter in person as they missed us and were ready to be a family again, but I told him no. Phil then asked if there was anything Owen could do to fix the marriage, and I again told him no. Phil tried to say I was being unfair, but my dad stepped in and said Phil was overstaying his welcome. Before I hung up, I told Phil that his son was sending me abusive messages daily, and if he truly was sorry, then he should make his son stop. Then I hung up. My parents said my Phil was irritated that I did not respectfully say goodbye or give Owen a chance to save his marriage, but left with little fuss after my parents laid into him about raising his swine of a son to threaten his wife and child. Telling his father must have worked because I haven't gotten a single message from Owen since then. I do not want anything from my STBX, not child support, not alimony, not the house or any of his other assets. I just need him to agree to the divorce and give up his parental rights so my little girl can grow up with a family who loves her unconditionally. I have a good degree and a great job, my child and I will be fine without him. Owen's lawyer has made it clear they're going to fight us for full custody, and my STBX has significantly more money than me, but my lawyer is confident in our case and I trust them. Today, my MIL has been trying to contact me as she wants to be in my daughter's life and is saying she is ready to accept her as she is. As if my daughter needs to be accepted by her. If it's up to me, their whole family will never see us again. Additional comments from Oop. Owens has destroyed hundreds of thousands of dollars of my electronics, clothes, furniture, and paintings. That's the only thing I will be making him pay me back for. I don't want any of his assets, just the things I worked hard to earn and he destroyed. There is a report. I don't know what will come of it. I had been living with my parents for 2 weeks before the first post, and already had started to talk to a lawyer. Whether or not me and my husband worked on our marriage, I planned on not living with him for at least a while after he said it wasn't my house, and my parents pressured me to get a divorce attorney immediately when I moved into their house. Even when I still slightly thought things might work out, I was preparing. I went back and forth mentally, but I knew this was not sustainable. My family did most of the work finding me an apartment and paying for furnishing it. Just took a while for me to leave my parents and physically move in. The only truly recent update is my Phil talking to me and learning, through my other family, my MIL wants to reconcile. Relevant comments. Commenter, you're a fool not to get child support. You should go for court-ordered support, his paycheck garnished. Uop, maybe I'm a fool, but this isn't his child. He doesn't care about her. He just wants to hurt me and make me go through this. Commenter, it doesn't matter if she is biologically his or not. Child support is for the child and legally he is the father. You'd be a fool not to go for child support. I get not wanting anything of his for yourself, but as I said, the support is for the child and goes to the child and represents his part of the care for her. ESP if you push for full custody. It's to help provide for her care. Also, what a fucking POS. You're a saint to not push for what you're legally allowed to. God, what a dick. I'm glad you got her and yourself out of that situation. Oh, he doesn't want this child. I'm beginning to think he never wanted a child, he just wanted to fit the part. I'm going to take care of my daughter. I don't need his money. She also has my whole family looking out for her. My baby will want for nothing. Why would I force money out of a man who does not love her and has no connection with her, apart from staying in my life to make me miserable? Commenter, going to be buried in the comments, but how does one move out, find an apartment, get the rental papers taken care of, move into and furnish a new apartment within 3 days? Seems a stretch. Oop. This update is not chronological by day. I'd been living with my parents for 2 weeks before I made my first post, and my family was working to get me out of my parents' house the entire time, as well as furnishing my apartment. I paid for some of the things, and my siblings, their partners, my parents, and many other family members donated and bought things. Trust me, I could not have done this alone. Update 2. Firstly, I'd like to answer a few questions many seem to have. No, I did not sign a prenup. Yes, my MIL was very controlling from the beginning of our marriage, but my husband set boundaries with her when I asked him to at the time. Back then, I was confident he would hold to those boundaries. My husband and I are not American, and we do not live in America. That is all I'm comfortable saying on location or ethnicity. A 12-year age gap is not uncommon for us, and my family was 100% for the marriage, at the time, as he was seen by all as an excellent match. For those saying I am wrong for not allowing my husband to see my daughter, you can kindly show yourself to the door. He has forfeited any rights the day he allowed her to be called a bastard, and his continued actions or inactions afterwards I think make that abundantly clear. Not wanting alimony or any compensation might be difficult for some, but I will not struggle without his money, and neither will my daughter. I may not have as much money as my STBX, but I have a good amount saved, and I thankfully never stopped working. My family has also put aside money for my daughter, and everyone is very supportive of us. I understand some might think I'm entitled to half his assets, and that may be true, but I don't want them, and I don't need them. I trust my lawyers. They're doing an excellent job. I've already made my decisions, and I stand by them 100%. Some of the evidence I've handed over of my husband's threats and the videos of him destroying our things will be admissible in court, but not all of it. My lawyer thinks what we have is enough for full custody, but I'm still nervous. Our divorce is another matter. I believe he simply wants to hang on to control. I have only spoken to him in person once since I left his house, and when I look him in the eye, I can tell he doesn't love me anymore, or even likes me, which hurts a lot more than I expected. I don't understand why he won't agree to a non-contested divorce except control. Owen has partially paid me back for the damages to my property. The rest will be paid out in the coming weeks. We have settled this out of court. I was able to get the restraining order against my ex, but not my MIL or the rest of my ex's family. My mill continues to harass my parents to convince me to reconcile. This is a massive embarrassment for her family. My CIL, the one who told his mother about my husband's infertility and started this drama, still tells people I cheated, but my friends have ripped into her lies and few people believe her. Being alone has made me realize I have been functioning as a single married woman since my little one was born, but now I have less of a burden on me. There are good days and bad days where I break down. There is much about my life before that I do miss, but I will never go back. I'm thankful the truth is out, even though it has caused me to lose a few friends as they've taken the side of my husband. They know the full truth, and they still chose my husband's side. Thank you to all those that offered kind words of support. We are safe. Relevant comments. Commenter: glad you have a good family support system and happy you and your baby are okay. Did you ever hear from your FIL again? He seemed to the only stable one on their end. Oopie. He has not tried to contact me or my family, and yes, he's the only stable one. Although he could do a better job keeping his wife from harassing my family, I understand he can't control her actions. Second story. My parents wants to give my sister the earrings my grandma left for me. This story is so weird. When I, 27F, was 20YOO, I was in relationship FWB situation with a guy, now 40M. It was messy. We were on and off for almost 5 years. He was always clear he wasn't ready for a relationship, and I was always clear I was madly in love with him. Every time I got tired of the situation and wanted to leave somehow, he convinced me to stay, because love is free. We have so much time together, he wasn't ready to commitment. I asked advice to my sister, now 42F, and she gave me some crappy advice like made him compromise, leave Sfuff at his place, and basically turn him into a boyfriend until it was too late to him to say no. I never managed to do that because I wanted him to love me as much as I loved him, not trap him. During the last night I spent at his place, he said he wanted to try something more serious with me, talked about some dates he planned, etc., only to ghost me forever. It was hard. This was the first person I loved, and he treated me like crap. 6 months passed and my sister came home. We both lived with our parents, saying she wanted to introduce her brand new boyfriend. She had have ton of boyfriends, but she said this was the one. It was a dinner only with my parents at our home, so I was excluded and expected to just go out or chill in my room. The day came, and while they were dinning, I ordered a pizza. I came downstairs only to find the guy I was with 6 months prior dinning with my parents and sister. I was shocked, but paid for my pizza and went to my room again to cry. After dinner was over, I confronted my sister in front of our parents and begged her to not be with him, to be loyal to me, her little sister. There was no way she didn't know who he was. I had showed her pictures of him, his socials media, where he worked, and she even knew where he lived. They never met because he didn't wanted to meet my family and never introduced his. But she knew who he was, and she excluded me from that dinner because she knew. She said they met by chance after we stopped seeing each other. She knew how hard that rupture was. She knew how painful it was to not have even a closure. He just stopped replying, not even blocking me. Just left me there wondering after 5 years. She knew that during those 6 months I was still hurting. I know how it was my fault. I was too naive and thought that if I stayed long enough, he would be ready for the relationship I wanted and would learn to love me. Stupid, I know. She defended herself, saying it was a coincidence and chemistry was there. She loved him and she wasn't going to lose the love of her life. This stuff only happens once in lifetime. When I was in my early 20s, I would believe that. However, now I know that there are 8 billion people in this world. There's no one love of your life. You can find the love of your life multiple times if look for it. My parents sided with her and said I should get over it since we never have a real relationship. 1.5 years had passed. I've been excluded from multiple family gatherings because he would be around, and my family thinks I will bring negative vibes since I'm still bitter about everything. I have no feelings for him, but I feel betrayed by my sisters and my parents. He is just pose on my eyes now. My sister is now 6 months pregnant. Due her age, she had been extremely pampered by my parents. She still lives at home and is going to move with him maybe 2 months after the baby is born. Then they're going to marry. In my culture, it's normal that if a woman gives birth, moves back, or stay, with her mom, so the mom will help with the baby for the first months. A week ago, my sister's friends made a surprise baby shower. I happened to be at home. I tried to talk to them. I don't know why. Maybe because my sister and I were too close before, and I'm sad we're not longer friends. But her friends acted like I wasn't there, and only replied to me with, yes, no, or silence as if I was the one that created this mess, or I was a homewrecker, or I tried to seduce my sister's man. I was planning to move already. I was saving money, etc. But after that, I left immediately to a friend house. I'm in the process to find my own place. 2 days ago, I received a call from my parents asking me to have a talk. I went to their house and they informed me that the diamond earrings my grandma left me will be given to my sisters. Those earrings have been in my family for 4 generations, and before my grandma died, she said the earrings will be mine and my sister will receive a gold necklace. Grandma trusted my parents with the earrings. There was no will or anything, she just asked to give it to me when I was mature enough to take care of a family heirloom. Now my parents thinks since my sister is getting married first and is having grandma's first great-grandchild, my sister should have it. I'm really mad now. They're robbing me of something my grandma left to me. I don't think my parents are evil. I think they were worried my sister wouldn't marry due her age. Again, in my culture, a single woman in her 40s is something to worry for her family. And now that she's forming a family, they want to reward her with everything. But I was the closest to my grandma. She made it clear the earrings will be mine, not my sister's, not the first one to marry or have a child, but mine. After 2 years of being excluded in favor of my sisters, I gave the ultimatum to my parents. They give the earrings to me as my grandma intended, or I will cut them from my life forever. Not gonna lie, the idea of cutting my family off is too painful, but I feel they already made me and still makes me so wrong I don't want them in my life anymore. I feel a little shallow fighting over this, but those are only things my granddad left to. They are not entitled to them. Relevant comments, additional info. Commenter, you need to get a lawyer. Those earrings are your inheritance from your grandmother, and if it's documented in your grandmother's will, they can be sued and charged with stealing. I know you don't want to do this, but your family has already shown you that you don't matter to them at all. Do you honestly believe that they are going to care if you go no contact with them? Don't warn them that you are going to press charges for stealing. The will giving you the earrings will magically go missing. I'm sorry, OP, you deserve better, and I hope you stay strong enough to make boundaries that you will be able to stand by. Oop! Grandma left no will. She handed her jewelry, and most of them were family heirlooms, to everybody. My grandma was the 4th generation with then. I was 12 when my grandma died. She gave the earrings to my mom so I could have them when I was ready to take care of them properly. I always thought I would wear them on my wedding day or a very special day. Since I lived with my parents not so long ago, I never asked for them because Mom has them in a safe in her room with other important stuff. I don't know if they would care. I think they don't believe they're doing nothing wrong handing the earring to the sister that is having Grandma's first great-grandchild. But if Grandma wanted that, she would have stated, the sister that has the first child must receive the earrings. She said they were mine. Honestly, the entitlement. Commenter, can you access the safe without your parents? Oop. Yes, I still have keys from the house. I'm worried that I take them, it would be legal consequences. I have a text of my mom admitting the earrings were meant to me. I could use our extended family that knows my grandma's last wishes, but I don't. It will be enough. Commenter. Keep the text, take the earrings, then go no contact with no explanation. They are well aware of why you are going no contact. Your family is not good people and you're not required to keep them in your life. Update. This is old, but I keep receiving messages every once in a while asking for an update. Yes, I got the earrings. After my post, I went to my parents' house, opened the safe, took the earrings, and left. Then after that, I went again, told my parents I need time to process stuff and be my own self, and gave their house's keys, said I was leaving for good. There were some tears from my mom saying she couldn't believe I was such a bitter person. She raised me better. I was turning my back to my family over nothing. And finally, that it was shameful that I would let the family house without being married or anything. So it was never about me, or she loving me or anything, but social pressure to keep an outdated tradition. My dad was very neutral, gave me a hug and wished me luck. For 2 months, nothing happened, and I barely have contact with my family. Found a place to live, tried to heal, have real fun decorating my new home, your normal stuff. And then everything happened at once. For those 2 months, my sister and mom never reached to me. Only my dad sent a text once a week asking how I was and wishing I was doing well. And then my sister's boyfriend, future husband, also my ex, started to follow me on Instagram again. I found it weird, but anyway, after all, he's my sister's boyfriend, father of my niece, future brother-in-law, my ex FWB. He started to like my stories and the replying to them with hearth emojis and looking good. This happened 3 times, maybe. When I received the voicemail from my mom calling all sort of names for going after a man that I knew was engaged. This was some kind of revenge over my poor sister, that I was causing her so much stress her blood pressure level was over moon. I was an inconsiderate femme fatale, and she raised me better. Later, I learned through a cousin that my sister took her fiance's cell phone and found several conversations with several women, including his attends, to talk to me. So, of course, she went to my mom crying about me trying to steal her fiance. All messy TBH. Less than a week later, another voicemail from mom asking me where the fuck were the earrings. She went looking after them, and when she couldn't find them, deduced it was me. She called me a thief, a disgrace, dishonored me, and said they didn't consider me family anymore. I was dead to them, and she will be taking legal actions against me for thief if it was possible. I had no option but to block her and my sister and other family members that sided with them. My dad later texted me to let me know my mom went nuts and they won't take any legal action. By the end of last month, my cousin texted me saying my sister had given birth to my niece. I know I shouldn't, but I did it. I went to the hospital with a gift while wearing my beautiful and fancy earrings. I was kicked out, of course, but it was worth of it. I have no plans to see them ever again. Well, maybe my dad. Also, my cousin. Big gossiper, that girl. Let me know my sister is getting married in May, so she will have her happy ever after all. But I'm also living my best life, Arn. How do you like these stories? Write your opinion in the comments. Let's get 1,000 subscribers on this channel. Love you.